Imagine standing in a place where the temperature can fall below -40 degrees. The wind cuts through every layer of clothing. The ocean has disappeared beneath a sheet of ice several feet thick. To most people, this frozen landscape looks lifeless, a place where nothing could possibly survive. But beneath that silent surface, an entire world is moving. Schools of Arctic char and lake trout glide through the dark water below the ice, hidden from sight. And for thousands of years, the Inuit have known exactly how to find them. Long before modern fishing gear, engines, or electronic fish finders, Inuit hunters developed a remarkable understanding of the frozen north. They learned to read snow, ice, wind, and animal behavior with extraordinary precision. Their survival depended on knowledge passed carefully from one generation to the next. Today, many Inuits still practice traditional ice fishing not only as a way to gather food, but as a way to preserve a culture shaped by one of the harshest environments on Earth. To outsiders, drilling a hole through thick Arctic ice may seem like a simple task. In reality, every step requires experience. Every decision matters, and every mistake can become dangerous. The Inuit are indigenous peoples who live across the Arctic regions of Canada, Greenland, Alaska, and parts of Siberia. Their ancestors adapted to this environment thousands of years ago, building a culture around respect for nature, cooperation, and survival. Winter dominates much of the Arctic year. Lakes freeze solid. Rivers become icy roads. The sea transforms into a vast white landscape stretching far beyond the horizon. Yet this frozen world never truly sleeps. Life simply moves beneath the surface. Before a single fishing hole is cut, the journey begins with observation. Experienced hunters rarely choose a location at random. Instead, they study the land with remarkable attention. The shape of snowdrifts, the direction of the wind, the color of the ice, nearby animal tracks. Even tiny cracks frozen into the surface can reveal valuable information. Generations of experience have taught Inuit families that every detail tells part of the story. Some areas freeze differently because underwater currents continue flowing beneath the ice. Other locations remain attractive to fish because deeper water holds more oxygen during the long winter. Knowing these places can make the difference between returning home with food or returning empty-handed. Unlike modern anglers who often depend on GPS maps or sonar screens, traditional Inuit fishermen learned to trust memory. Parents showed children productive fishing locations year after year. Those places became part of family history. Some fishing grounds have been visited for countless generations. Travel itself can be challenging. Historically, Inuit hunters crossed enormous distances using dog sleds. Teams of powerful Arctic dogs pulled sleds loaded with tools, food, and supplies across frozen rivers and sea ice. Today, snowmobiles are common in many communities, allowing families to travel farther in less time. Yet many experienced hunters still say that dog teams understood the Arctic in ways machines never can. Dogs sensed unstable ice. They reacted to changing weather. They could detect dangers long before humans noticed them. Even with modern transportation, respect for the land remains unchanged. The Arctic rewards preparation. It punishes carelessness. Upon reaching the chosen location, the real work begins. The ice can easily measure 1 meter thick, sometimes even more. Creating a fishing hole requires patience and strength. In the past, Inuit hunters used hand tools carved from bone, antler, stone, and later metal. Today, many use manual ice chisels or powered augers. But regardless of the equipment, the process follows the same principle. A narrow opening is carefully cut through the frozen surface until dark Arctic water finally appears below. The first glimpse of moving water feels almost magical. Above, everything is silent, white, frozen. Below, an entirely different world continues its endless movement. The hole itself is surprisingly small, just large enough to lower a fishing line. Making it larger would only increase heat loss and allow the ice to freeze again more quickly. During extreme cold, the opening constantly tries to close. Thin layers of new ice begin forming within minutes. Hunters repeatedly clear the surface to keep the water open. Sometimes this simple task continues throughout the entire fishing session. Traditional fishing equipment reflects centuries of practical design. Lines were once made from animal sinew. Hooks could be carved from bone, ivory, or antler. Every material came from the environment itself. Nothing was wasted. Today, many Inuit combine traditional knowledge with modern fishing gear. Strong synthetic lines and steel hooks have improved efficiency, but the essential techniques remain remarkably similar. Choosing bait also requires experience. Depending on the season and location, fishermen may use small pieces of fish, frozen meat, or specially prepared bait known to attract Arctic species. Success rarely depends on luck. It depends on understanding animal behavior. Patience becomes perhaps the most important tool of all. Unlike recreational fishing in warmer climates, Arctic ice fishing often involves long periods of complete silence. Hunters wait, watch, listen. The frozen landscape encourages stillness. Conversations become quieter. Every movement slows. Many Inuit describe these moments as peaceful rather than boring. Time itself seems to move differently across the Arctic. While waiting, experienced fishermen continue reading the environment. They notice subtle sounds traveling through the ice. A distant crack may simply reflect changing temperatures, or it may signal shifting pressure far away. Birds flying overhead sometimes reveal nearby openings in the ice where fish gather. Even seals occasionally provide clues. The Arctic constantly offers information, but only to those who know how to see it. Family members often fish together. Grandparents sit beside grandchildren. Stories are shared while everyone watches the fishing lines. Children learn without formal lessons. They observe, ask questions, practice simple tasks. Gradually, knowledge becomes experience. Much of Inuit culture has always depended upon oral tradition. Skills are demonstrated rather than explained. Respect for animals forms an important part of every lesson. Fish are never treated as unlimited resources. Taking only what is needed helps ensure healthy populations for future generations. This understanding developed naturally from centuries of living where food could never be taken for granted. One successful catch could feed an entire family. Several successful days could help a community prepare for long winter periods when storms made travel impossible. Every fish mattered. Every meal carried meaning beyond simple nutrition. Eventually, almost without warning, the line begins to move. Sometimes the pull is gentle, sometimes sudden. The fisherman responds calmly. There is no rush. Years of experience guide every movement. Slowly, carefully, the line rises through the icy darkness. For several long seconds, nothing appears. Then a silver flash breaks the surface. An Arctic char emerges into the freezing air, its scales shimmering with shades of silver, blue, and soft pink beneath the pale Arctic sunlight. For a brief moment, the frozen landscape feels completely alive. It is more than a successful catch. It is proof that beneath the silent ice, life has always been there. And for the Inuit, understanding that hidden world has never been simply about fishing. It has always been about survival. The fish is lifted carefully onto the ice. For a moment, everyone pauses, not because the catch is unusual, but because every successful catch deserves respect. For countless generations, Inuit hunters have believed that nature should never be taken for granted. The Arctic provides, but only to those who treat it with patience, skill, and gratitude. The fish is quickly prepared. In extreme cold, leaving it exposed for too long can cause it to freeze solid within minutes. Some families clean the fish immediately beside the fishing hole. Others carefully wrap the catch before continuing to fish. Nothing is wasted. The meat provides valuable nutrition. The skin may be used in traditional recipes. Even the bones have historically been used for tools or returned respectfully to the land. This philosophy developed naturally in a place where every resource mattered. Unlike societies with endless supermarkets and constant supply chains, Inuit communities learned to value every gift the environment offered. Winter in the Arctic can last for many months. Fresh food is never guaranteed. Preparing for the future has always been part of survival. Many families preserve fish through freezing, drying, or smoking. The Arctic itself becomes a natural freezer. Temperatures remain low enough to preserve food for extended periods without electricity. Some traditional methods have remained almost unchanged for centuries. Others now combine modern equipment with ancient knowledge. The goal remains the same: ensure there is enough food for the weeks and months ahead. One of the most remarkable qualities of Inuit life is cooperation. Fishing is rarely seen as a competition. When someone enjoys a successful day on the ice, the catch is often shared with relatives, neighbors, or elders who may no longer be able to travel safely. This tradition strengthens the entire community. Survival has never been an individual achievement in the Arctic. It has always depended on people helping one another. The same spirit appears during hunting trips, difficult weather, and emergencies. No family is expected to face the Arctic completely alone. This deep sense of responsibility continues to shape Inuit communities today. Children begin learning these values from an early age. Long before they hold a fishing line themselves, they accompany parents and grandparents onto the ice. They watch, they listen, they learn where it is safe to walk, how snow changes after strong winds, why some ice sounds different than others, how animals leave clues across the frozen landscape. Many of these lessons cannot be learned from books. They require experience. They require patience. Most importantly, they require time spent on the land. For the Inuit, education has always happened outdoors as much as inside a classroom. Nature becomes the teacher. Every season introduces new lessons. Every mistake offers new understanding. The Arctic itself demands humility. Even the most experienced hunters never underestimate changing conditions. Weather can transform within minutes. Clear blue skies may suddenly disappear behind powerful snowstorms. Visibility drops. The horizon vanishes. Landmarks disappear beneath blowing snow. Modern technology certainly helps. GPS devices, satellite phones, weather forecasts, emergency beacons. These tools save lives. Yet experienced hunters continue relying on traditional knowledge alongside modern equipment. Technology can fail. Batteries lose power in extreme cold. Signals disappear. Machines break. But knowledge carried in the mind remains available at every moment. Many elders say that true survival comes from combining both worlds. Respect ancient wisdom. Use modern tools wisely. Depend entirely on neither. Climate change has introduced new challenges that previous generations rarely experienced. Across many Arctic regions, sea ice forms later in autumn and melts earlier in spring. Ice that was once considered reliable may now become unpredictable. Traditional travel routes sometimes change from one year to the next. Communities that have lived alongside the ice for thousands of years are among the first to notice these changes. Hunters speak about thinner ice, different snowfall, changing animal migration, warmer winters. These observations are not based on scientific instruments alone. They come from lifetimes spent reading the land every single day. Researchers increasingly work alongside Inuit communities because traditional ecological knowledge provides valuable insight into long-term environmental change. Together, science and indigenous knowledge help build a clearer understanding of the Arctic's future. Despite these challenges, traditional ice fishing continues, not simply because it provides food, because it protects identity. Every trip onto the ice strengthens the connection between generations. A grandfather teaches his grandson where Arctic char gather beneath winter ice. A mother shows her daughter how to prepare fishing equipment. Families tell stories while waiting beside quiet fishing holes. Culture survives through moments like these. Visitors often arrive expecting to witness an unusual fishing technique. Instead, many leave with a different understanding. Ice fishing is only part of the story. The deeper lesson is the relationship between people and place. The Arctic is not viewed as an enemy to conquer, nor as an empty wilderness waiting to be explored. For the Inuit, it is home, a home deserving respect. Every successful fishing trip reflects balance rather than domination. Take only what is needed. Waste nothing. Protect the future. These principles feel increasingly relevant in today's world. Perhaps that is why Inuit traditions continue to inspire people far beyond the Arctic. They remind us that survival depends not only on technology, but on observation, patience, community, and respect for nature. Standing beside a small fishing hole surrounded by endless snow, it becomes clear that silence is never truly empty. Beneath the thick ice, fish continue their ancient migrations. Above the surface, families continue traditions carried across countless generations. The frozen landscape may appear unchanged, yet every winter tells a new story. Every fishing trip becomes another chapter in one of humanity's oldest relationships with the natural world. Long before maps marked these northern lands, before engines crossed frozen lakes, before satellites watched from space, the Inuit had already learned how to listen to the Arctic. They discovered that survival was never about overpowering nature. It was about understanding it. That wisdom still echoes across the frozen north today. As the sun sinks low over the endless white horizon, shadows stretch across the snow. The fishing holes slowly freeze once more. Equipment is packed carefully onto sleds. Families begin the journey home. Behind them, the Arctic returns to complete silence. But beneath the ice, life continues, just as it has for thousands of years. And tomorrow, when another hunter steps onto the frozen lake, they will not simply be searching for fish. They will be continuing a tradition that connects the past, the present, and the future one careful step across the ice at a time. If you enjoyed this journey into the Arctic, subscribe and join us as we explore more extraordinary cultures, ancient survival skills, and hidden ways of life from around the world. because some of humanity's greatest stories are still being lived in the world's most remote places.